You're enjoying Morning Cheer with Jerry Williams and Teresa Daly on 104.9 WIHS.
WIHS, and joining us now, our dear sister with her third and final segment, Suzanne Sorensen, 20 plus years in Alzheimer and dementia care. Good morning, my sister.
Good morning.
Good morning.
God
Thank you
bless
for
you.
having me back.
Amen.
Number 3 is the charm, right?
Okay.
Right. That's right. So for those that hopefully caught my number 1 and number 2 talk, just a real quick brief explanation of the fact that I went through the memory loss with first my father with Alzheimer's, second with my mother. Their journeys were completely different. So I learned different communications, different tips, different not tos, different I should have, woulda, coulda, wish I hadda. So that's what we're going to share today. And then what that led me to do in my life was to get into helping other families. So most recently, I just retired from our Alzheimer's dementia care community, which was 100%, 52 residents all suffering through the diagnosis of a neurocognitive disorder disease, which is memory loss. Each one shared different personalities, had different backgrounds, different needs. So when you are adapting to one, it's one thing, but when you have 52, it's a whole different world every day.
My goodness.
Because you can't treat everybody the same. And the disease should not be treated as the same for everybody as well. So everybody wants to put everybody in a big hole and say, oh, it's all Alzheimer's and this is the way you do it. No, you don't just do it one simple way. We wish. So what I'd like to discuss is some of the communication that I hear and have seen is, personally, was from my mother when my dad went through it, is, why are you? So words to avoid. When you have memory loss and you don't know why you're doing it, the last thing you want to do to somebody is say, why are you doing this? Why did you do this? Why aren't you? How can you? Or don't do, or don't you remember? So it's kind of like you're being disciplined as a child because you don't know how to react, because you cannot come back with that response, because you can't explain it. So when Dad would do the unusual things like like Teresa's mom, taking the burner handles off the stove and turning the gas on, or unplugging things, for Mom to say, why did you do that? Doesn't know why. But how do we help him? It's like, okay, let's fix that. And then when Dad's not there in the other room, you unplug that appliance or you take off the handles and you're going to have to hide them. So avoiding those phrases of why, what, don't you remember, how could you do this? So those kind of come out the wrong way. Instead, I want you to use friendly examples of, could you, would you, can you, I'd like for you to. That's a lot easier communication than doing You know, like when you're a parent, you just get mad at your kids and stop doing that, you know. And my mother would get to that point, stop doing that. So how can I help you? So talking to a loved one, a spouse, your adult parent is, Mom, how can I help you get dressed today? What would you like to wear? Give them choices. Don't assume. My mother was very big into always having the best clothes and always having her lipstick on and having her eyebrows on when she got dementia after Dad passed away. So when I was dealing with my caregivers, this was very important for them to know as things that were important for my mother. So again, give them choices. Having visitors come see them and let them know if they haven't seen a loved one for a while is really important too. So adult children that have been out of state like I was, it was a shock to see the change in my mother from not seeing her from 6 months before. Again, California, Connecticut, working full time, had, you know, things I had to do, and I couldn't just pop up and just take off to California just because. So I'd always be on the phone, always talking to the caregivers. Again, always it sounded, she sounds great, good, great, wonderful, you know, and then I didn't see the things that were changing. So having that communication with friends or relatives that are going to come maybe for a holiday, for a birthday, is something else I want to touch on, because preparing them, making sure that your loved one has a hideaway space. If it's too much, it's too busy, it's too active, where can they go, like to another room, just to be in their own world? Sometimes it's too much. They know that there's something wrong, and then they're, again, isolating themselves or pulling back. They're not
like
enjoying.
a timeout.
Yeah, they're not enjoying. They're almost being punished, but they're not. But you need to communicate to everybody. It's like, don't say, oh, don't you remember again, because, again, they don't know that. So preparing visitors to come is I think, very important. If they want to get up and walk to another room and they don't feel like visiting, who cares? It's their house. When you go to a restaurant, before you get seated and you're still in that position where you need to take them to a restaurant, and it's fun, and my mom loved to go out. But maybe on the QT you say, don't give her a lot of choices. Give her 2 choices. When you're talking, oh, we got a great hamburger today, or we got a great this or that. Still choices, but when you get a menu and you got 100 choices, good luck.
I know, been there.
They're not going to maybe even read the menu, or maybe they can't anymore. But they're going to go back to their normal because it's easier. The hot dog, the cheese, the sandwich, a hamburger. But you may say, oh, Dad, I know how you love a really great pastrami. They've got a good one here. You want to try that? Good. Boom. Bada bing, bada bang. Okay?
My mother would say, chicken. What do you got? Chicken. Anything with chicken.
The other thing I want to talk about, and this is such a hard journey, and I just, I've been praying about, I think you guys, you guys that are out there, you're blessed when you trust the Lord to help you. You cannot do this by yourself, because it's not feasible.
That's right.
And it's okay to let go. It's like, let go, let God. Give it to him, pray about it, but then also be smart about it and know when to ask for help. So again, it took me a while to figure that out, because I kept thinking Mom was doing good. When I had to hire caregivers...
Yeah, you have to delegate.
Ooh.
And you got to know who to trust.
Right.
And what are the signs of, hey, it's time
Yes.
for that.
And that's the other thing is, at that point, when my mom would fall and break something, and then she'd come back from the rehab, we had to put in help. So you know where I went to? My mom's dearest friend, her daughter, both Christians. We hired the daughter, and she became my mom's caregiver. So she'd come in a couple times a week. And I used her name before. It was Cindy. So Cindy would come in and go, hey, Tony, how you doing today? And she'd just check the refrigerator, make her lunch, check her pills, make sure the pill box was filled, hide the pills away. But Mom was still safe to be at home. So until more breaks. But having a Cindy was awesome. Now, Cindy was available because she was a single mother, needed some extra money. I didn't have to go through an agency at that time. It worked out great. So Cindy and I would stay in touch and on a regular basis. So Cindy got a preloaded credit card. So when Mom would go to the store, because she loved to go to the store.
Of course, and they need that.
And yes, and still having that independence, that preloaded debit card or credit card had $500 on it. So Cindy could go to lunch with my mom. She could take her grocery shopping. When she gave Mom the credit card, of course, it disappeared. We had to order 3 separate credit cards, so that I say just keep that away. But having that freedom helped my mother still maintain a little independence. Now, when it came to bill paying, I will tell you, please know when it's time to take away the checkbook. Yeah.
Been there, done that. Oh, my goodness. It's their life. Her checkbook.
It's like taking away the car for my dad. But the checkbook is a crucial part of maintaining, again.
Bless their heart.
Can they stay in their house as long as possible? Make sure where that money's going. I don't know if I told you, but one time I was visiting Mom. I'm like, Mom, where's all your money? I don't have any money. I was like, what do you mean you don't have any money? She's like, I said, buy yourself some Z's candy. She goes, no, I can't afford it. I'm like, yes, you can. And that's when I looked in the checkbook and saw all those donations going out to all these sources. One after another and after another check.
I know.
But she didn't realize she already wrote the check to the same company 3 times in that month. Hey, it was in the register, so lucky me. But we saw where that money went. And then what happens is every day she'd get to that mailbox, and then there's another stack of 32 people, companies asking for money. And she'd pick and say, okay, I'll write a check for another one.
I went through the same thing. I'm going, what are you doing? She would be writing checks for thousands of dollars, and she overpaid 3 times.
Yep.
If you're just joining us, we are with Suzanne Sorensen, 20-plus years in Alzheimer and dementia care.
Thank you.
So thank you for mentioning about handling the checkbook and taking care of it, because I, like myself, there's a lot of people out there it might be apprehensive about doing that and feeling like you're really hurting. Yes, it does hurt, but the pain that could continue, you know what I mean? If things, when evil prevails, when good people sit by and do nothing.
Yes.
So that point was very, very well
and
brought out.
trusting somebody that's in your house with those finances is huge. So I needed to leave a blank check because we had a gardener that would come. And only Cindy knew where the blank check was hidden in the kitchen, so Mom couldn't just find the checkbook. So getting on your loved one's bank account before things get worse is crucial. So again, we were talking legal documentation, power of attorney, executor, trust, whatever you got to do. I was always on my mom's account. My mother and my sister were on my account because, again, I'm getting older. And what if something happens to me? I don't want to leave that burden. They can't do things. So having a check, for emergencies was good to have. The other thing was, when do you seek additional help more than just a few times a week? So it got to a point where Cindy just couldn't do it all by herself. Mom's dementia had progressed, so we had to hire a second caregiver. So that was another fun job. But thank God for this one. We hired a housekeeper that lived in the neighborhood that came over. So she filled in a couple days. So what I ended up doing is having a 3-day on, another 3-day on, and a 1-day for Sunday to give the ladies a rest. But those ladies lived in that house, and they woke up to my mother, and they went to bed with my mother. And I was just telling you about the camera and the alert, making sure she didn't get up out of her chair after break after break after break in her body. That was a mandate. So God bless them, because they were there to help my mother through the dementia. Now, managing their hours sometimes could be very challenging when you have caregivers coming in the house, because somebody needs a day off and all of a sudden they're saying, oh, I've got to leave now because I have an appointment. Well, Cindy, you can't leave because I don't have a backup for you for today because you're scheduled for 3 days on. You can't leave my mother by herself. So, again, they have to understand what their hours are, what's expected of them, what their pay is, they're responsible for getting a backup before they even book an appointment ahead of time. I shouldn't have to be doing that. And making sure those caregivers aren't calling you for nonsense stuff. Like they would call and say, somebody didn't empty the trash can. You're calling me at 10 o'clock at night into Connecticut from California to tell me that last person that was there didn't empty the trash can. Let's get real. So setting up realistic expectations of what you expect from the caregiver. Making sure that they have the communication that if they have to go to the hospital with the loved one, where's the legal documentation for you to go in the hospital and say, here's the power of attorney, here's her do not resuscitate, here's her legal contact information for the medical person. That aide cannot do anything, cannot approve anything, zero. So setting them up for failure right there is going to hurt you in the long run, because if you're out of town or not available, who are they going to call? So you've got to make sure that you have a main person and an alternative legal person. So my sister, or never and. So make sure you do that as well. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is if they're still able to be at home and they don't need 24/7, sometimes adult daycare is a really nice resource to use. And that means the bus picks them up, the bus takes them home, and they're engaged for 8 hours a day. That agency, that adult daycare can do medications, they can do incontinence care, they can shower them, they feed them, they can take them on a trip, and it's good stimulation. My dad did do the adult day for a while, and he'd go and he'd do the chicken dance, and he'd get all tired out, and it was like, yay, for a little while he could sleep, before it progressed. My mother was not going to do adult day. It just wasn't going to cut it. So she stayed at home, but then I had the caregivers do exercises with her, lifting the little 1-pound soup cans, kick the ball, those kind of things. So that's another option. But if it gets to a point like my father, he could not stay at home any longer. We needed 24/7 because it was a risk to my mother and a caregiver that could come in. Then you need to find a senior living, dementia care only community. So the place that I retired from a year and a half ago that I was with, we had 52 residents, 2 neighborhoods. Everybody had their own bedroom, pretty much a couple shared. But their responsibility is care, love, take care of, and do everything for them. And then you step back and you go and have a nice visit as an adult child or a spouse, not as a caregiver, because that burnout's going to happen. grief support,
That's
Alzheimer's
open.
support, because you're going through grief when you're losing somebody. So Alzheimer's support is important. The Alzheimer's.org, your local churches and organization, get the help. Also, give yourself a respite. If you're still at home with a loved one, you need time away. Have somebody come in, take care of that loved one. If you're try to entertain them, iPads, electronic picture frames, cutting coupons, those are the kinds of things they're still going to do at the Alzheimer's facility. But again, they're putting them to bed, they're waking them up, they're doing it, they're taking to doctor's appointments, they have a doctor that comes in. But not everybody can afford a private community. And I will tell you, it's $8,000 to $10,000, easy. So think about planning ahead, preparing for the down the road. It's important. Don't let it catch off guard. If you can hire private help in the meantime, great, but you got to make sure.
And legal assistance is
Yes.
very, very wise.
Right. You have to use a home care agency. Make sure you're getting the proper,
Right.
people legally, and that they have backup if they call out for sick. It's their problem, not yours. And that's a good part about using somebody that's a company, too.
Thank you.
Amen. She's Suzanne Sorensen, 20 plus years in Alzheimer and dementia cares. You've been wonderfully informative
You
these
did a
past
great
three
job.
segments. I'm sure we're going to be crossing paths in the future. And if you missed the interview or want to watch it again, go to our YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe and ring the notification bell so you can get alerts every time a new video is uploaded. Thanks again to Suzanne
Thank you
Sorensen.
so
God bless
much,
you.
Suzanne.
Keep doing what you're doing. We'll talk to you later and see you
Very
down the road.
valuable.
104.9 WIHS.
You're enjoying Morning Cheer with Jerry Williams and Teresa Daly on 104.9 WIHS.